We're back, coaches. Randy Brown, Coach RB, with number 5 in our foundational anchors, the concept of 90%. And the challenge to you, the coach today, is going to be, are you teaching the right things in your skill development and in your practices? So, what is this 90%? Well, if you think about it, if the average player, high school player, takes 6 or 7 shots a game, where do those shots come from? How are they created? How many dribbles does it take? Versus everything that goes on defense on one end, and back on offense, all of the things that go into being a player on offense without dribbling for a shot or without shooting. Well, if the average player takes 6 or 7 shots and it only takes a few seconds to shoot, what in the world is going on the rest of that time? Well, the rest of that time is the 90% of the game where we do not have the ball, or on defense, we're not guarding the ball. And you can chart this, and this has been done for years and years. Okay, what part of the game are we engaged with the ball? What part of the game are we not engaged with the ball, but actually engaged in the most important part of the game, and that's playing away from the ball? And so my challenge to coaches is always, 90 for 90. Are you spending 90% of your time in skill development and in practice on the 90% that's going to appear in a game? If not, why? Right? It doesn't make sense to me to put a player on the gun and have him shoot 500 shots when he's probably going to take 25 shots his entire season. Now, I'm not taking away the ability to improve shooting, and that should never be done. But if the 90% rule says that he doesn't have his hands on the ball 90% of the time, what are those skills that he has to maximize to be a valuable player on that team? And every time he is in the game, he brings value according to what his role is. Not everybody can be a go-to shooter with the green light. But that still means that his footwork can be immaculate. He can be a tremendous rebounder, a tremendous screener, can play on offense with cutting angles and change of speed and direction so that he can always get open. If he has the ability to penetrate, he penetrates to get fouled or to get in the lane and get an easy shot. We could go on and on and on. We're not even talking about spacing. We're not even talking about passing. These are all part of the 90%. So, in simple hoops, I'm asking you, do you spend 90% on the 90%? Or, like almost every gym I walk into where there's practice or individual skill development, the player has a ball in their hand. Now, we need ball skills. We need to play with the ball when we do have it without turning it over, certainly. But do we need to spend 90% on 10% of the game? That just seems totally backwards. So this gets into roles, which we're not going to cover today, but a huge part of what we're talking about today has to do with roles and what each player needs to be doing for their team while they're in there. But a highly efficient offensive player doesn't need much time to get 6 or 7 shots off. It's what you do the rest of the time. Defensively, there is no question that the most important people defensively in a man-to-man system are the players on the weak side that are there communicating their help. Because if we get broken down on the ball, those helpers are the first line of defense. They are so important. You know, I kid with people all the time. I say, when you watch a game, what do you watch? And invariably they say, well, I watch the ball. Having never been asked that question, oh, I watch the ball, I guess. And I say, why would you watch the ball? The player with the ball is holding it or dribbling it, and he's being guarded by another player. That's pretty simple. I'm not going to spend 2 hours every night watching a game, watching two players that are predictable and what they're going to do. There is a fantastic 4-on-4 game going on away from the ball. So I challenge you again, another challenge is when you watch basketball, to watch the 4-on-4 game away from the ball. Because that's where that's where scoring opportunities are being created, with the cutting, with the spacing, with the screening, with the posting up, with the back cuts. And instead of watching a stagnant situation, watch the real action. That's the 4-on-4 action. You can watch it offensively, you can watch it defensively. There's a tremendous 4-on-4 game always going on in the game of basketball. Last thing I want to share with you is just a tremendous statistic on Klay Thompson, what he did one night. He had 52 points in 27 minutes, and he had 14 threes. All right? So you talk about being efficient away and teaching players how to play away from the basketball, whether they're great shooters or not. In this example, Klay Thompson's a great shooter. Okay? How many dribbles do you think it took him to score 52 points and hit 14 threes? How many dribbles do you think it took? Well, it took 4. You talk about a guy that is unbelievable away from the ball. That's why when you watch the Warriors and Curry has the ball and he makes tremendous plays, I personally don't watch Curry. I watch the other 4. And I can't wait for Klay to get back in and play for the Warriors, because he is a tremendous study on how to create space and get himself open for shots. 52 points, 27 minutes, 14 threes, 4 dribbles. Another great challenge for you. Okay, the concept of 90%, it's a good one. And with every concept and every foundational anchor that I'm giving you during this series, I'm giving you challenges. So I've given you 3 challenges on our foundational anchor tonight. The concept of 90%. Think about it, challenge yourself, and write out your answers. Just don't think about it. Get something on paper. All right, that's great. We'll see you next time for number 6 in our series of foundational anchors.